Welcome to the How-To Factory, the channel where we reveal the secrets behind how some of your favorite foods, products, and everyday essentials are made. Bourbon. Warm, complex, and distinctly American. Whether sipped slowly on the porch or mixed into a classic old-fashioned, bourbon has become more than just a spirit. It's a piece of American heritage. But how does this iconic whiskey get its caramel notes, deep color, and signature smoothness? Today, we're going inside a bourbon distillery to see how it all comes together. The story of bourbon dates back to the late 18th century. As settlers moved west into Kentucky, they brought distilling techniques from Europe. But the grains and the land were new. Corn was abundant, and oak barrels were cheap and durable. Legend credits Baptist minister Elijah Craig with aging the whiskey in charred oak barrels, which gave it a richer color and flavor. While that story is debated, what's certain is that bourbon as we know it began taking shape in Kentucky, thanks to natural limestone filtered water, fertile soil, and generations of craftsmanship. If you're thirsty for knowledge about how everyday products are made, raise a glass to that subscribe button, toast a thumbs up, and let the bell ring like a bourbon barrel, so you never miss a smooth drop of our next video. In 1964, the U.S. Congress formally declared bourbon America's native spirit. To earn the name, bourbon must follow specific rules. It must be made in the U.S., contain at least 51% corn, be aged in new charred oak barrels, distilled at no more than 160 proof, entered into the barrel at no more than 125 proof, and bottled at no less than 80 proof. No colorings or additives allowed. Bourbon's flavor has to come from thyme, wood, and grains alone. It all begins with the mash bill, a precise mix of grains, typically corn, rye, or wheat, and malted barley. These grains are milled into coarse flour and then cooked with water in massive stainless steel cookers. The heat breaks down the starches, which become sugars, forming a thick, starchy liquid known as mash. After cooling, the mash is transferred into fermentation tanks, often made of stainless steel or old-fashioned cypress wood. Distillers add a proprietary yeast strain, and fermentation kicks off. Over several days, the yeast consumes the sugars, converting them into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The result is a beer-like liquid with about 6% to 10% alcohol by volume. Now it's time for distillation. The fermented mash, or distiller's beer, is pumped into a tall column still. Inside, it's heated, so the alcohol vapor rises, separating from water and other compounds. It's then condensed into liquid again. Many distillers run it through a second still called a doubler or pot still, refining it even further. The result is a clear, strong spirit called White Dog. But bourbon doesn't become bourbon until it meets the barrel. The fresh spirit is poured into brand new American white oak barrels that have been charred on the inside. This charring is essential. It caramelizes the wood sugars, which give bourbon its vanilla, spice, and toasted notes over time. Barrels are then rolled into rick houses, massive aging warehouses where the bourbon matures for years. As temperatures shift with the seasons, the liquid expands and contracts through the charred wood, extracting color and flavor. Most bourbons age for at least 4 years, though some stay in barrels far longer to develop deeper complexity. Once aging is complete, barrels are sampled, blended, and sometimes filtered. Some bourbons are bottled straight from the barrel at cask strength. Others are diluted with limestone filtered water to reach standard proof levels. Before bottling, everything is tested for consistency, aroma, and balance. Finally, it's time to bottle. The finished bourbon is pumped into bottles, sealed, labeled, and boxed up, ready for store shelves worldwide. Every sip of bourbon is the result of generations of know-how, a deep connection to the land, and a whole lot of patience. From grain to barrel to bottle, it's a uniquely American journey. Vodka, crystal clear, smooth, and famously neutral. From martinis and cosmos to simple soda mixes, vodka is one of the most versatile spirits in the world. But what seems like a simple, flavorless alcohol actually has centuries of history and a precise process behind every bottle. Today, we're going inside a vodka distillery to see how this iconic drink is made from the ground up. Vodka's roots stretch back to Eastern Europe. Russia, Poland, and Sweden all claim a role in its origin. The word vodka comes from the Slavic word for water, and early versions were used for everything from medicine to celebration. Over time, vodka evolved into the neutral, highly purified spirit we know today, prized for its clean flavor and mixability. If you're ready to clear the fog and discover how everyday products are made, chill that subscribe button, raise a crisp thumbs up, and let the bell ring pure and clear, so you never miss a shot of our next video. Unlike whiskey or rum, vodka can be made from various ingredients: grains like wheat or rye, starchy vegetables like potatoes, or even sugar-rich sources like grapes or corn. Whatever the base, the goal is always the same: convert starches or sugars into alcohol, then refine that alcohol until it's as pure and smooth as possible. It all starts with milling. Grains or potatoes are ground down into a fine meal and mixed with water in large cooking vats. This mixture is heated to break down the starches into fermentable sugars. Enzymes may be added to speed this process up, especially in grain-based vodkas. Next comes fermentation. The sweet mash is cooled and transferred into massive fermentation tanks, where yeast is added. The yeast consumes the sugars over the next 2 to 3 days, producing alcohol and carbon dioxide. The resulting liquid, called a wash or beer, is usually around 6 to 10% alcohol by volume. Now it's time to distill. The fermented liquid is pumped into column stills or pot stills, where it's heated. Alcohol evaporates at a lower temperature than water, so it rises first. The vapor is then condensed into liquid again, separating it from impurities. Most vodkas are distilled multiple times, sometimes 3, 5, or even 7 times, to achieve the clean, neutral profile that defines the spirit. But it doesn't stop there. After distillation, vodka often undergoes an additional filtration process. It might pass through activated charcoal, limestone, quartz crystals, or even precious metals like platinum. This step strips away any remaining compounds that could affect taste, clarity, or mouthfeel. At this stage, vodka is nearly pure alcohol, typically around 95% ABV. To bring it down to a drinkable level, distillers dilute it with water. And not just any water. Top-shelf vodka brands pride themselves on their water sources, using glacial spring water, deep artesian wells, or other naturally filtered supplies to influence the final taste. Once it's diluted to around 40% alcohol by volume, also known as 80 proof, the vodka is ready for bottling. It flows through a filling line, where bottles are filled, capped, labeled, and sealed. From there, it's packed into cases and shipped around the world. The result is a remarkably simple spirit in appearance, but surprisingly complex in production. Whether you're mixing a cocktail or sipping it neat, vodka is a drink that combines centuries of history with modern-day precision. From the fields of grain or potatoes to the final crystal-clear bottle, vodka is a story of purity, precision, and timeless craftsmanship. Whether you sip it neat, mix it into a cocktail, or toast to good times, every drop carries the legacy of tradition and innovation. So next time you raise your glass, remember the journey behind that perfect pour.